Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, gentlemen. Hammerhand, the MGTOW monk, back at you one more again. And yo, man, it's a special occasion. I have a good guy with us today. R.A.D, Rebel Against Defeat. You know him. I know you know him. If you don't know him, shame on you. Slap your wrist 2 or 3 times. We're going to go over something real quick before I bring R.A.D in. And I want to show you how your female advocates really are when they get cocky, when they get confident.
The McDonald's guy not notice you call him mommy 5 times in a row?
They never notice.
I'll let you fuck me in the ass.
They never notice.
Go for it.
I'm gonna do 6.
Okay.
Hey, mommy, how much was it?
Total today was $2.70.
Oh, thanks. Hey, mommy, are the straws paper?
Sorry?
Are the straws paper?
They are not.
Oh. You don't have paper straws, mommy?
We don't.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Oh, shit, wait, mommy. That's the Coke, right?
Large Coke, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thanks, mommy. Thank you. That was 5.
That's Chloe Roma. You know who Chloe Sunderland, Chloe Roma, Chloe's Army, Aroma Army, all of that dumb fucking shit. You get it, right? That's a men's advocate. You say, what's the big deal, man? They're just having fun at the expense of another man. All right, so while she's running around spending the money and the contributions and the Patreon checks that she cashes, what's she actually doing? She's using you so that she can thumb it in your face. That's what they always do. Stop falling for this shit. After a while, the sympathy well starts to run dry for guys that keep falling for the same fucking shit, the same scam over and over and over again. Welcome to the stream, R.A.D.
Thank you, Hammer. Great introduction, by the way.
I appreciate you, brother. So I'm going to jump up into the chat real quick, read a couple of comments, and then we can just fucking get thumping on this one.
Great.
Placebo effect, Roma's Arby's. Oh. Ghost. Sure, this bitch got nothing better to do with the time. Yes, thank you, Hammer. Belittling a man at work. I'm glad that you recognize that, Ghost, because that's exactly what that is. That's not having fun. That's being cruel, and it's belittling men at work that have been at work all day with the would you like a straw with that? Do you need a bag? Thank you, come again. That kind of monotonous life. And then they're going to bring their own fucking bullshit to the front door. And of course, if they're confronted with it, they'll just blow it off. They'll just tell you that you're making too much out of it. But that's just what they do. Alex Chung, I hate how women like guys with tats. It's gross. Anime remakes of characters are usually just adding tattoos and casual hipster clothes. Well, I got, some of my own, so I can't really comment on that one. But it just is what it is, man. John Gorska, horse smile like AOC. Greeny Fly, the fat nutter. I didn't need to know that. Hammerhand, your voice places my soul at ease, like being in my favorite class. Oh, man, is there such a thing as a favorite class? I don't know nothing about that. So what's up, R.A.D? What's going on?
We're here together, exposing reality. It's funny. The tattoos, my dad, when I grew up in Oregon, my dad would say, when I was 10, 12 years old, he'd say the women with tattoos, they either work at Mary's, which was a bar for sailors back in the 40s, or and the other people that had tattoos were men. So I always grew up believing that women with tattoos were those women at Mary's, right? So
yeah,
it's that Roma gal, whatever she believes or thinks, she's doing it for attention. Attention's their currency, regardless if they're pro men or pro women, they're looking for attention.
Yeah, I know. Dorst fan says, Hammerhand, what headphones are you using? Hold on one second. These are the Sony MDR G45s. They're the wraparounds, and I like them. They're not, they didn't used to be super expensive. Over the last year, they fucking tripled in price. So they're running about $60-$70 now. But I like them, and they sit real comfortable on my head. So, yeah. I don't know, man.
We're the
What are
bald
some red flags that we're looking? Huh?
We're the bald army.
That's right, man. That's right. I just got out. I forgot to fucking shave while I was in the shower.
There you go.
So I'm gonna have to jump back in there a little bit later and take care of that and get that little scrubby scrub off. But I don't know, man. Mr. Hate Vicious, that's why women do porn for attention. Well, I don't think anybody would know better than you, would you? Mr. Sir? I don't know. I don't know. I think there has to be some kind of a disconnect with guys out here today. I think that biological urge that fellas have is so strong that it blinds them to reality, you know, on top of the brainwashing that they suffer all the time.
Well, I believe most men literally, they cling to the fantasy that there's a woman out there that's going to love them forever, give them the kids, give them the family, give them the perfect life. That's what we're programmed. That's what we've been programmed from the beginning. And that's just the reality is they just can't see the reality. So these guys go through life thinking the next one will be the right girl. The next marriage is going to work out. Everything's going to work out. I know so many folks that are in their second, third, fourth marriages still, you know, clinging to that fantasy. And that's what, as you said, Hammer, gets them off track. You know, believing in the fantasy. Fantasy is Disneyland. Fantasy is a movie.
Yeah. We see how Disneyland is working out now, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin McAllister in the chat says, my 16-year-old daughter wants a tattoo and I'm against it, but her mother sides with our daughter on it. Of course she does. I said she needs to stop trying to rush to be a grown-up because that will come soon enough. Kevin, if you have any sway at all, don't let her get a tattoo. Just bring her to a couple of mild videos where Undead Chronic or Ribby roast these fucking thoughts that are all tatted up and look at let her see the perception of what these women are and how they're perceived out here in society. Show her some of those receipts, man. You know, you don't got to be graphic or disgusting or anything, but just show her some of those receipts and let her know how women who were tatted up and fucking broken and they get run through, how they're treated and how they're looked at.
That's great because my daughter, as you know, doesn't really talk to me. Hasn't talked to me for years. She's got multiple tattoos. You know,
we were talking about that before we got on air.
Yeah, I was always against tattoos, and you know, the moment she turned 18, she was always teen mom, which is fine. She's got multiple tattoos. I ran into a guy that is a tattoo artist 2 years ago. Chatted, you know, good guy, but he does tattoos. And I was just asking him, what's the deal with tattooing ladies? He goes, man, they come in at 18. They are looking for ways to escape. They get tattoos. And I try to tell them the ink in your skin is going to age horrifically. You know, if you're going to do this, this is a lifelong deal. It's not going to replace the issues that that you're going through. And it was a very interesting take to hear from a tattoo guy, basically trying to tell these girls, don't get tattoos. It doesn't, you know, he's interested in the money, but it's not good for them mentally and physically.
Let's just say let's take this in another direction. Let's just say that he would not give him the tattoo. How many people do you think would try to sue him or make trouble for him?
Oh, geez.
Right.
Of course. He'd be a misogynist, right?
He'd be a pig. He'd be a misogynist. He'd be anti-woman. It would be all of that shit. It'd be all of that in a bag of chips. Yeah, we were talking about the kids and how we have kids, but only associate with one of them. You know, and in both cases, our daughters have nothing to do with us. And I don't know how do you have a son as well?
I've got two boys.
So you got three kids?
21 and 17. Yep. 23, 21, 17. And
my daughter is 18. She has nothing to do with me. And my son just turned 14 and we're hooked at the hip.
Yeah. Well, the boy needs a dad. I see that in my boys, you know?
Yes, of course.
We shared custody of the last one. So he goes back and forth. He drives, which is fine. But, you know, he pulls to dad because that's what boys need, a strong masculine figure. When he's here, he's not my friend, he's my son, right? Whereas mom is friends with the kids.
I agree with you 100%. I've said that to my son, especially when I'm getting heated about something. I say, look, I'm not here to be your fucking friend. I'm your father before I'm your friend. So if I have to pick one, I'm your dad first. I'm your father first.
We can be friends.
He knows, right? Yep. When we go out and I take you out somewhere, if we're at a theater or if we're at a game room or something like that, we can be friendly. Okay. But until you can manage your own life, I'm your father.
Oh, absolutely. How many, you've got a lot of subscribers. I've got some subs I've got guys that are in their 50s, their 60s, 40s, and they're telling me, man, I have not seen my kids for 7 years. Father Saunders didn't see his kids for over almost 3 years. Yep. And it weighs on men because men want to
constant.
We want to, rear our kids in the right direction. I look at a parent hammer as, hey, if you get off course, I steer you back, right? I want you heading in the right direction. I know you're going to make mistakes, but I'm going to steer you back. And I'm not here. And the problem I had in my marriage was mom wanted to be friends with the kids. She wanted the love and attention and it backfired because now they don't respect her. They're able to, run circles around her where they come to me. They don't like to come to me because I lay it down in Chinatown. There's a routine in my house. There's a schedule. If I tell you your curfew's at midnight and you're home at 12:05, 12:10, your car's up for a week.
Yeah. I'm in your ass like Sunday bacon.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. But there's a lot of people out there. And so if a man, I remember when I was with my divorce attorney, he said, you are all about structure and routine where your wife at the time wanted to be their friends. And so the court looks at, and then I'm looked at as someone as I'm toxic, I'm dangerous because I've got guidelines. I want to help my kids. I want them to graduate high school without being pregnant, getting somebody pregnant, or on drugs, right? If they got a C or a B, great. Could care less. But that was my whole, if I could get my kids cross the finish line without any illegitimate, pregnant or having babies or on drugs or in jail, I succeeded.
What do you think about particular sections of, say, MGTOW or the manosphere that say you motherfuckers only talk about bitches? You have no self-awareness, blah, blah. Obviously, you can tell. I mean, I have contempt for that. I have contempt for that idea. And they will always try to link it to you being desperate for pussy or validation instead of talking about the issues that are derived directly from associating with probably your worst enemy in a lot of cases. What do you think about that?
Well, I think there's a lot of different factions. We've talked a lot about the frauds of the manosphere, the guys, the grifters. We've talked about the hypocrites. I believe that my purpose is helping guys really navigate life by understanding female nature. Simple as that. You set your life up how you want to live it. You're the captain of your plane. You're going to fly it where you want. You're going to invite who you want to be on it. And if you don't want to have anybody on it, great. If you want to invite and be a hit quit type person, great. Understand the risks and the rewards. But the manosphere is fractured. There's not a lot of authenticity anymore. There's a lot of money seeking. There's creators that I used to love that are now, they won't talk to anyone unless they super chat them, which, I've never been monetized, never will be monetized. I'm here for the pureness of it, the pure blood, as you say.
You care to name names? You don't have to.
They're big.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of folks. I mean, when I first got into this is 7 years ago, Big John. I love Big John. I don't know if you remember Big John.
Of course I do.
And I watched him all the time. This is when I was going through my shit, and he got me through a lot of stuff. But he was authentic and raw, right? He was down just like you. I think we cling to folks that we relate with. Rawness, authenticity is what I'm all about. I can smell the fakeness a mile away.
Yes, sir. Sonny Andriot says, rolled up tamale said men are failures if they don't have kids. I guess he never heard of Tesla. The 1,000 men out there that never had children or progeny who dot the landscape of history. That is a shame game tactic.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's trying to push you and pigeonhole you into their space so that you can start buying their self-help courses.
Sure.
Yeah.
I wonder why folks spend $1,200 an hour on somebody that has an incessant and insatiable appetite for single mothers.
Desperation is very, very powerful.
There's a lot of vulnerable guys out there. I get a lot of guys that reach out, and they're young guys. Hey, I can't get a girl, or she's ghosting me. I said, I'm not a dating coach, but I'll tell you this. Understand that women seek attention and validation. And understand that and move forward and build a better life for yourself.
Sure.
Simple as that. Nikola Tesla. Who else that's been successful that didn't have a woman in their midst? That, a woman should look. That we're not in the 40s there. Right. We're not in the 40s anymore. So women, to be a compliment to a man's life, that reality is over. Men, put yourselves first. Move forward. Build a legacy by building yourself up. Quit seeking the attention and validation of women. That is programming. That's what we've been programmed to do.
Agreed. 100%. I'm dealing with folks right now that I'm trying to give a little bit of help to that are they're going through some shit, man. Australia, New Zealand, United States, Canada. The United States, I think, is the easiest one because Title 4D is not law. So that's right. It's if you know what to do, it's easy to get out from under that and get yourself into a much more fair situation. But these other countries intentionally cuck the men in those countries, and there's not a lot that can be done.
That's another thing, Hammer. I get a lot of guys saying, "Hey, what if I just go to Philippines or Thailand or Bolivia or Peru? Those women love." And I say, you know what? Wherever there's the internet, there's female nature.
Sure. I mean, you could be on a desert island in the middle of fucking nowhere, and if you can catch a signal and you've got a phone, you're going to import hypergamy.
Hypergamy doesn't sleep?
Nope. And it definitely floats. Great Paul Proteus.
Absolutely. Paul is great. R.I.P., right? Rest in peace, Paul. There's a lot of folks that literally believe, and they've got that fantasy. So if they can find the fantasy in southeastern Ukraine, everything's going to work out.
Oh, and they're coming out of the fucking woodwork now, ain't they?
Absolutely.
Have you been seeing that shit? The fucking Russian girls and the Ukrainian girls are being magnified all over the world now, being pushed at all of these Western men. Oh, they're happy to fucking abandon their country and abandon their men.
They're looking for protection and provisions. This is hypergamy 101.
But I thought they were strong and brave and equal.
We're all equal, right? Until we're not. Yeah, I had a video. It was called "Men and Women Are Not EQUAL," and it got taken down. I got a strike against me. I appealed it. They still knocked it down, and I said, physically, we're not equal.
That's hate speech, homie. It's hate speech, man. Come on. It's hate speech.
It's all hate speech. Susan just gets upset. And then you got the whole the feminine men that come after us and call us what have you in the book. I always say, look, if you don't like my channel, go watch Derek Jackson's channel. That's a great channel for feminine men.
Chili Pepper up here in the comments says India is about to hit the fan with the gender dynamics. There was a case that I just read about where a 27-year-old bride filed a lawsuit against her 29-year-old husband because he had hidden a bald spot. She had the husband and his family jailed.
Oh my gosh. It's out of control, Hammer. We live in a clown world.
That fucking shit over there is absurd. That's absurd. I understand why those motherfuckers go and they start chopping bitches' heads off. I get it. I don't support it, but I understand it. There's only so much of this suppression that you can put on people before they just go fucking bunkhouse and they start taking people apart. Line of MGTOW posted comment here, isn't DNA testing illegal in France? It's illegal in France. It's illegal in Italy. It is strongly discouraged in Australia, in England, and 37 states participate in paternity fraud here in the United States.
Right.
So, what do you do about stuff like this? You steer clear of it.
No marriage, no cohabitation, no kids. As simple as that.
No kids.
You're going to
just
say
that simple.
Yeah. People ask me all the time, would you have kids again? And I said, you know what? I love my kids, but I would probably choose differently. It's not because I don't love them. It's because the future was, if I had a time machine, I'd jump in it right now.
Yeah, you just didn't know. Right? You didn't know.
I didn't know.
You didn't know. I didn't know. I'd never take my kids back. I'd never undo them.
Right.
But we shouldn't be even considering a situation like that. We should be much, much more honest and much, much more open as people. And we have a real hard time with that.
So what are your thoughts, Hammer, about the future? Next 5 years, where are we at?
It's hard to tell, man. I mean, we could be grease spots on the fucking street, but 5 years is just kind of that arbitrary number. It runs, in my opinion, it just kind of runs through political cycles and cultural cycles. And I guess they're about 5 years long, or in the case of the huge, huge movements like civil rights or feminism, which co-opted civil rights and destroyed civil rights. And they're in the process of destroying it again. I don't know. If I had my druthers, I would hope that all female sport is gone. I would hope that everybody in the NCAA and any women's sport is a biological man that decided to become a woman and put them all out. That's something that we should probably have a little chat about. You think about it. What is the end goal of allowing biological men to compete with women? Right? They say that it's equality. It's not equality and it's not equity. It's the first toe in the door to eliminating sport altogether. Because once women get driven out of their sports, they're going to demand that it's unfair that men have sport at all. Right?
Correct.
So you're eliminating competition gauges.
Correct.
You're eliminating aesthetic looks.
Correct.
And that's part of what they do. And I don't hear anybody talking about that.
Yeah, the whole Skittles movement and a man becomes a woman and competes with women. I'm fine with that. You know what? They made their bed. They got to sleep.
I agree. I have no sympathy for these people that had no problem with all of this debauchery that they were signing off on, all of this fucking foolishness that they were signing off on. And then all of a sudden it's at their doorstep and they're like, well, no, it wasn't supposed to be us. We voted for you. And then they were like, well, sorry.
Yep.
And then they start fucking taking them out too. You asked for it. You got it, Toyota.
Absolutely. This is what they signed up. They wanted equality for everyone, every potential gender, every sexual orientation. And now they're fighting against it. I look at it as a complete, it's delusional Olympics and they're all, gold medal winners. I want to see a woman compete with men in the MMA, or a woman that that transforms into a man. I want to see him get into a ring with Conor McGregor. I think that would be great. I would completely support that, but they won't.
Well, you already kind of saw the reverse of that with Fallon Fox destroying that opponent.
Yes.
In the MMA a couple of years ago, fracturing her skull. And there were things that I didn't know about that until I got into it and read about it. Her opponent was a transgender advocate, supported it, knew what Fallon Fox was before Fallon Fox and her signed the contract. So you got in there and you got fucking stomped out by a man and you knew it.
Absolutely. And so, you know what? They need to they made their bed, now sleep in it. But guess what? That mode of thinking they have the fantasy of equality, but the reality is they don't want it. They want their own little world within itself. It disallows the Transformers to come in their world, but it's just delusion for 300.
Yeah, you can't. There's no way to get past what this really is, man. And what this really is it's this great big bubbling cauldron of hatred, jealousy, spite, envy, with a framework constructed around it. Excuse me one second.
Mm-hmm.
With a framework constructed around it to give certain people certain privileges. You know, a year or so ago when I watched the House try to divvy up what hate speech was and who was protected, it was like it was a laughing stock.
Yeah,
we're protecting POCs, we're protecting BIPOCs, we're protecting blacks because blacks don't identify as BIPOCs or POCs. We're protecting browns, we're protecting the Ashkenazi, we're protecting the American Indians, we're protecting Samoan Islanders. We're going to protect some Canadians if they agree with us, and then we're going to exclude Europeans.
Right.
That's it. And this is something that is being voted for in the House and the Senate of the United States of America.
Well, I mean, you look at the president and who he's putting into significant cabinet roles. Transformers. He put that one non-binary in charge of
Rachel
the program.
Rachel Levine.
Yep.
The highest medical professional transformer in the world now. Fuck that motherfucker. And he went to school with old General Milley. I want to understand white rage. I read the book. I want to get it. Don't send your kids to the military, folks.
Yeah, they want to definitely, they want to basically bring us down to the most weakest common denominator. And my whole thinking has always been toxic masculinity is really the last straw that the equality feminist movement can really bring. Now they're calling all men toxic, right? If you have a wiener, you're toxic. And this is their last straw because men are now opting out of marriage. The marriage rate has plummeted significantly. The birth rate has plummeted. So where are they going to get you? Okay, a bachelor tax. There's already a bachelor tax.
There's already a bachelor tax.
And number two, they're now they want to label toxic masculinity. So what does the guy do? He just gets on his purpose and moves forward. It's simple as that. It's not hard to move through life without a woman. You can do it.
To me, it's a little bit of mea culpa and embarrassment that we're even having the conversation. But I get it, because I look back on instances in life where I've heard other adult men or other adult women, and the women buy into it just as much as the men. Don't anybody ever not believe that. They're just being misled and they're being lied to, and everybody's being pushed against everybody else. But it's like your soulmate's out there, man. It's like it immediately puts the idea your other half is out there.
Yeah.
Right? It immediately puts you in the position of thinking that you're not whole, that you can never be whole. You don't have to be a whole human being out of spite. You can just be a whole human being that doesn't cohabitate, have kids, or engage in the system because all of it's weaponized.
You
have to know that. So,
Now the factors, the forces are against you if you do that. And so you've got to be very careful. And you've got to really navigate, guys, they reach out all the time. I said, you got to navigate life by understanding male nature and female nature.
Yeah, I agree.
How many guys have self-deleted themselves or become, so depressed because they put a woman central to their life?
Well, they're just being told that it's something that they have to have. It's something they must experience. I realize that a lot of people still watch television, even though the numbers are so far down from where I was when I was watching television. These people are inundated with this stuff. I am not joking. I watched the Indianapolis 500 last year for the first time in a long time on TV instead of going to it. And the commercials during the 500 were insufferable. They're insufferable. They were unbearable, So I would mute the commercials when they came up, or turn the TV off and just come back in after 5 minutes.
Right.
So that's just what it is. It has progressed that much.
Speaking of car racing, I know you like Indy. I think you like NASCAR as well. What did you think of the when Danica got in the game? What was it, 10, 12 years ago?
Well, she came in 2005 in Major League IndyCar open wheel racing.
Okay.
I was an advocate for that. I thought it was great that she was in there, but it quickly turned into something that was malevolent.
Yeah.
You know, it really did. It very quickly turned into something crazy. In 05 on pole day, we were sitting there. If she hadn't had just a slight bobble in one, she would have probably been on the pole. And she came home and finished fourth. And she was always a better than average oval racer in IndyCar. She was at the event where Weldon was killed in Las Vegas. So I don't know that was the decision maker for her to jump to go to NASCAR. But I think that they'd probably already made the decision to go to NASCAR. It was the worst career move ever. But as far as money was concerned, it was the best career move ever. You know, she gets in and immediately goes to NASCAR in an incredible car and sits it on the pole. And then from that point forward, commenced to crashing more fucking cars than any person I've ever seen in my life. And she had some of the biggest crashes I've ever seen. You know, so yeah. As far as just running straight solidly into shit, she had some of the biggest crashes that I'd ever seen. For a female, let me qualify that.
But can you imagine the attention she got just the attention? She had more attention than a million brides on their wedding day every time.
Yeah. It was obscene, and it was being marketed that way. It was being pushed that way. You know. And so it's not fair for us, and blah blah blah. It's not this. It's not that. It's not the you have opportunities to compete. Auto racing is one opportunity where women could actually, if they get to the fucking gym, if they put on 30 pounds of muscle, I legitimately mean that. They put on 30 pounds of muscle, they strengthen them fucking arms and necks up a little bit, they could compete for wins consistently. You know, Mario Andretti said years ago, until they're competing for wins consistently and winning championships, it's not a discussion. Not a discussion. And they're not being discriminated against. You're witnessing talent for females at the highest level versus talent for males at the highest level. And it's not even a contest. And they still want to rig the fucking game.
It's interesting to see that. So if I switch over to Tour de France, I have not seen a woman want to jump in the Tour de France ride. Right?
Oh, you won't.
Just even understanding how those guys. I'm a mountain biker, and I ride pretty competitively. But just the Tour de France, 30 miles uphill in mountains for 7 hours, 6 hours, 4 hours. Again, what men can do versus what women can do are extremely different.
I would agree. At the highest levels, I would agree. I would say even out here, you know, in mid-pack humanity, if you will, it's still on a completely different level. And these folks out here are so gassed up and so entitled and so into the idea that Captain Marvel exists in every one of them that they're failing to see that the average guy out here is not the Hulk. He's not Iron Man. He's just a man. And that man is 30, 40, 50% bigger, taller, and stronger. In a lot of cases, faster. You know, the only real opportunity that they have is to shoot him dead. You know?
Sure.
So if you're being aggressed by a man and you haven't provoked it and he gets fucking shot, then he just gets shot. That's just what it is. But, yeah.
I think our threshold of pain and endurance is much different, right? It's so I had a friend that was a fire chief in Oregon. Well, in Oregon, you have to, part of your staff has to be a specific amount of minorities, females, and so forth in a firehouse. So I said, look, I'm interested in, so you have 4 women that are firefighters. That's great. So what are they like? What's it like working side by side, carrying out people out of a burning fire? He says, you know, between the ages of 18 and 23, women are pretty strong. They've got some strength to them. But from 23 to 28 is when their bodies begin to debilitate, and they can't do the same physical tests. They can't carry the same amount of weight. And, our bodies are different. It's as simple as that. Men can maintain strength and endurance up to their 80s, 90s.
If they take a long time. Yeah.
It's long time. And I always say this, I cannot carry a baby. I cannot nurture a baby and help, rear a baby like a woman can. I was very, my ex-wife was a wonderful mother. She could do that. And then, years down the road, everything hit the fan, but they have a knack and an ability that men don't. And we have a knack and ability that they don't. And so this whole thing of equality is bullshit. We're not even equal with our own skin. Our skins are different.
Yes,
our brains are different. Our muscles are different. We don't suffer from osteoporosis. We don't suffer from those things. We are here to extend our legacy and move forward that way. And so when people are like, you know what, we're equal. No, we're not. We're equal in the eyes of God. If you believe in a God, that we're spirit equal. But other than that, no, there's a pilot and co-pilot.
I was thinking, I was watching a couple of videos on old Will Thomas and his amazing transformation out here in the swimming pool. He was, mid 400s as a man. Well, before he decided to start playing around with identity, going to compete against females, shot to number 1, right? And it's a pretty consistent number. If you consider that Serena Williams played 267th in the world and got straight-setted. And then they went back and played that guy again sometime later. He had slipped to down in the 300s. She got straight-setted again.
Right.
So it's a very consistent number when you see what happens when mid-pack high. It's kind of a misnomer here. Mid-pack high-level people, as far as the upper echelons of competition with men and women are concerned, 400, 300 is, you're not even going to tourneys.
Right.
It's like you're a really, really good tennis coach.
Right.
So, that's kind of what it is, but it's very consistent when you see them actually giving an honest, all out effort that they end up with the same results. And you will still get motherfuckers coming back talking about Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs.
Yes.
Yeah. Still.
I believe that was a planted event.
I think that it was. I think that it was too. I think it didn't take very much. Do I know for sure? No, I don't know for sure. But one of the best tennis players ever on the female side of things, and some guy that's over 50, smoking, drinking, staying up until 8 o'clock, in the morning from the previous day. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Absolutely. Well, we're different, and I tell my guys that, come to the channel. Look, I don't hate women, right? I've got a daughter, I've got a mother, I've got 3 sisters, I've got an ex-wife, I've got aunts. I work with tons of women. I just understand them.
Isn't it funny that you even have to say that?
I have to say that because it's like everyone thinks that I have a channel. I'm not anti-woman. Women are beautiful to me, but I have to understand how to move my life forward by navigating through them. Guys, you're not going to be, women are always going to surround you somehow. It's going to be at work. It's going to be the cashier, the grocer, your neighbor, what have you. You just have to deal. Hey, I'm not dealing with that crap. I'm moving on.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Look, man, when I'm out in public, I almost hate to say this, but I have an ingrained sense of politeness. I will say politeness.
Sure.
Like it is such a force of habit for me to hold a door for somebody that's close to hitting that door. I still fuck up and hold it for women every once in a while. I have men that get offended when I hold the door. It's like, I'm like, it's force of habit, brother. Yeah. I don't need to be rude, nasty, shitty, and spiteful to somebody. I just don't extend it.
Sure.
Beyond the event. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, yeah.
Well, I like that you say that because there's a difference between being a nice guy and a good guy. There's a complete difference. A nice guy is seeking validation. A good guy just does it because you know what? There's somebody that's in need. And
think
the other day, a woman came through. I was at the grocery store, an older lady, 65, 70. She couldn't read the monitor. She said, "Oh, sir, can you help me?" And I said, "Absolutely." You know, this is, you know, she couldn't punch the self checkout, and I was fine to help that. You know, I'm not so, I don't need to. I'm fine with who I am and what I believe and how I'm moving forward. That I can actually be a courteous person, and it's okay. But if you're doing it for the validation and the need to have a validated experience, then you're mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, that was a nice one. Tina R, love your content, Hammer. Gotta go, Salty Army tonight and have lots to do. God bless men. Stay away from us. Will do, man. Mission accomplished.
You know, Hammer, you've got to at least have 3% of your subscribers that are female, because I've got about 300 that are female, and several come to my channel, and some literally have been around for 2 years listening to my stuff.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
It's about 5%. I think I don't know the type of woman that visits this channel or any channel like this. What I say to them is, listen. You don't have to accept everything, but listen. I know that there's some lurkers. I know that there's some folks that sit in and they attempt to find ways to deconstruct what is said or to do end arounds on what is said instead of just listening to the complaint, listening to what men are telling you. It's not one guy or 10 guys or 10,000 guys. It's 10 million guys that are telling you the same thing all over the West. You see, and it's permeating everywhere, but it's concentrated in the West. And if you can manage to do that, you're going to start to see that you're being used. You're going to start to see that nobody's coming out of this clean. Everybody's going to have dirty hands.
Right.
And you have to stop buying into things like identity politics and a victim complex.
Right.
You have to stop doing that. You're being set up to fail. And we are failing on a grand scale right now.
I absolutely. And so along those lines, I've heard you mention you've got an acquaintance that's a gal.
Yeah.
How do you, I do too. So how do you, what's that chemistry like? Not, you know, what are the dynamics between that? Because a lot of folks think that if you are MGTOW monk, you don't talk to anyone, which is, I get it, you know, but you know, how do you manage? How do you navigate life?
As far as it comes to welcoming new females in, I don't.
Or no, the ones that you know already.
I know, well, there's my mother, and there's a couple, 2 females that I know outside of this, and I've known both of them over 10 years. And I have to, if I'm going to be honest with myself, it's distant. It's distant.
Yeah.
Because I've seen too many good guys get ground up by people that they absolutely trusted.
Sure.
You know,
sure.
We see something similar to that with people that come into MGTOW or Red Pill and their balls are out and their hair's on fire and they're talking about, yeah, rah, rah, rah for 6 months. And then there's this fucking flip. And then they're walking out the door and they're dragging their nuts on us, trying to say what hateful motherfuckers we are. I just, you know, you can see the same thing in females. They do the same thing.
Right.
And I think that people just kind of have identity crises and they figure out maybe they're not here, or they get it in their head that they're not welcome. It's not up to me or any other man in MGTOW or any other man that calls himself a monk to welcome you. I try to, but it's not up to us. It's up to you to welcome yourself. Learn the discipline, understand what it's about. If it fits you, Fonzies. If it doesn't fit you, find something that does.
Sure.
There's no rule against it, right?
Absolutely. There's no this specific set of playbook rules that you have to follow. You know, I literally believe if a man goes his own way, he knows the reality versus the fantasy. He knows the risk versus the reward, and he sets his life up accordingly.
Yes,
and he
sir.
goes after the things that he knows will not betray him. But as they always said, a guy is one BJ away back to the plantation.
I suppose, I think it always kind of lurks in the back of most men's mind that find themselves out here, whether it's through necessity because you chose to leave, if it's just a matter of self-preservation. There's a lot of men that enter this sphere just to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. I understand that. And there's no judgment there. Mm-hmm. There's no judgment there.
How many guys have reached out to you, Hammer, and said, your videos literally pulled me off the ledge?
Hundreds. There's 5 people in my comments right now that I've answered in the last 2 days that have said exactly that. And every time I read it,
it's amazing. I mean, I've had guys that say, I just watched your videos. I'm going, I was at the end, I was ready to drive off a cliff. And I've known 4 of my friends that have left self-deleted based on a woman or a divorce or custody issues. And just to help the next guy. I started my channel, Hammer, just to help somebody because Big John helped me.
Sure. I did the same thing. I knew that I had something to say on this. I didn't know exactly what it was. And I jumped into the deep end and, I found my footing pretty quick. And some people agree, some people don't agree. They think that I should be concentrated 100% on self-awareness, and ethereal content, water painting or something like that. And, and look, it's all good. I do all of that stuff in the background, but you have to address the things that are going on out here. You cannot be a coward when it comes to addressing these things. You have got to plant your feet and refuse to fucking move. No matter how many times they cancel your channel, no matter how many times they come at you, you can't move off of your morals, ethics, values, and principles. You can't do it. You can't do it.
I was watching you sometime a couple years ago, and you were sitting in your car. You did your videos in your car.
Yeah.
You were sitting in a lot. And I just remember I could feel the authenticity and the rawness and the truth of the message. And I'm like, man, I know that guy. That's me. And I tell the guys on my channel, every one of you has a story. Start posting it. Get these videos out. Create a channel. Share with others, because the experience is going to help not only yourself, it's going to help those that need it at the right time. We don't recruit for this. People come to us when they're ready and when it resonates.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes they find us early and it's like these guys are out of their fucking minds. And, you can just, when folks are saying stuff like that or you see that type of reaction, it's because they jumped onto the tracks 10 miles ahead of the engine, you know? So they're just like, what the fuck is all of this? And then they have a thing or two go wrong, and then they just kind of remember little bits and pieces, and they're like, oh, maybe I'll go check that out and see what's up and listen to them. A lot of the truths that are spoken here on this channel or your channel or Chronic's or anybody's for that matter, any number of folks that are in the chat right now that have channels, some of it's not easy. Some of it's not easy to hear. It's not easy to hear a man raging. It's not easy to hear that. And people don't want to confront it. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to acknowledge its existence because then they have problems.
Yep.
And when you multiply that by millions, this is being done to millions of men, millions. And there's an utter refusal on the part of the rest of humanity to step up and say, we see it. They know it's there. Yeah. They know it's there.
I mean, it's amazing how many channels there are now than there were 5 years ago. There's streams going on 3 times a day, 4 times a day.
I can't keep up with them.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, but I give in as much as possible. I hit your streams. I hit Dak's streams. I hit as many streams as possible because we all learn from each other. We can all gather, and hopefully you'll be in Chicago in June, but we can all gather and literally have a brotherhood that's never met in person, but we know each other.
Agreed. I'd like to thank all 465 sets of eyeballs watching these 2 Spurgers right here go off. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. I'm going to jump in the chat real quick and read a couple of these off. Sonny Adriat. I always fuck that up. Sorry about that, Sonny. The church is one of the main enslavers of men. You give them too much credit. You give them too much credit. At some point in time, men have to pull their head up and realize what's going on. Blaming them is like blaming anybody else. You can't blame shift. You have to take accountability for what you're putting yourself in, and realize that you have a responsibility to yourself as well that's probably not being carried out the way that it should be carried out. Polska Bob, my rib hasn't fully healed, been 7 weeks. Well, that fucking sucks. That sucks. Better figure that one out, man. Stephen Wood, I found you late, Hammer. Wish I would have found you sooner, 6 years earlier, but I'm here now, and here you are. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for what you do. Thank you. And thank R.A.D there, too. Mr. Valorum, demolish the satanic family courts. They're just doing what they do, man. And you see how difficult it is for people to stand up and say what's on their mind without being crushed by a wave of persecution. You know, and people are so sensitive. Well, not nearly as much today as they used to be, but people are so sensitive still to the ideas of speaking your mind and saying what it is that you need to say. Even if you sound stupid, say it. You know, everybody takes their lumps. Everybody makes mistakes. You have an opportunity to refine your thought process. Do it.
Absolutely.
Don't not take the chance. Do it.
You know, every guy that's got an experience should share it. And if you don't show your face or show your face, that's your deal. I figured me putting myself out there, I could care less if the company shit can me. I'll go figure. I can paint houses. I can carpet clean. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
We have value, and Hammer, the respect that we have for you out there every day, sharing, spending time, extending the message, helping guys explore the red pill. It's invaluable. And to save people, Terrence Poppett said he's up to 500 guys that have reached out that he's helped. He's been through, and that's his whole mission. We're good men, regardless of your skin color, where you live. There's guys in Nigeria that watch me, and I'm sure every country watches Hammer, and it's the same story. We have to reprogram men to be strong, to build, to create, to navigate life based on the programming.
I agree. The way that things are now, they're not just ass backwards. It's so much worse than just being backwards. You can fix backwards. The way that humanity is just it's outsourced to serve corporations and governments and bloodlusting armies. It's just not. It's not supposed to be this way. It's not supposed to be this way. We're unique, in my opinion. The species is a unique gift to creation. And if we're not careful, it's going to be gone very soon. So we have a mission, and the mission is to stop this usury and to stop warring with your neighbors, to stop worrying so hard about who's doing what, when, and where. I mean, obviously you can't be hurting kids. So I draw the line at things like that. If you're 21-year-olds that want to go and be dendrophiliacs, then go be that. Go fuck trees. If that's what you want to do, that's your thing. Okay, as long as you're not hurting anybody.
Right.
There's
guys that have dolls that watch me, and I'm like, you know what? Peace, quiet, and freedom. Peace, quiet, and happy. If that helps you to be a better person, so be it. Yeah, I agree 100%. Hey, man, you want to open this up to comments? Sure. All right, let's do it. All right. We got some great guys. We got some awesome guys in the chat. Great channels. There's so much content here. And those that don't have channels, make channels. Contribute. Right? You contribute in chat, but put your voice out there. Because guess what? Putin's going to cancel us in the next 18 months. Hammer will start Hammerhand version 4.0. Well, number 8. We've got to keep going.
So yeah, you just got to keep doing your thing, man. You have to be resolute, and you have to be resolved to the fact that this is your course. And if people can shake you off of your course, then it might not be your course. And that's always something to think about. So if you have any questions for R.A.D or myself, and you want to jump on here, be my guest. Otherwise, I'll just tackle some more comments here. To Bear Hammer, I do challenge the perverts, although I hate it. I do it. We need to stand up for wholesomeness. Just regular human decency, man, is what needs to be stood up for. You know, you can take that parental rights bill that was just passed in Florida by DeSantis. What is the opposition to that bill do? They come out and they say, hey, look, that's the Don't Say Gay bill. It's demonizing gays. No, it's not. It's preventing the indoctrination of fucking 6-year-olds.
Yep.
You don't have the right to go to your class and start talking about your sexual habits with your gay lover. You don't have the right to do that.
Right.
You know, normal people don't do that. So you don't do it either. And if you feel compelled to conduct yourself that way as a teacher, turn your teacher's license in and go dig ditches. That's just the way that's got to be. I'd like to welcome to the stream Success Pool Endeavors.
Yes.
Hey, R.A.D, how are you?
What's up, SCE? How you doing, homie?
I'm all right. What we're facing is omnidirectional warfare. We're being attacked from all sides. The war on men is very real.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Anybody that can control the male population, that society never seems to last for very long, and that's why we are directly under attack. This is why everything that you see in Hollywood is just pure projection. As a matter of fact, going back to the whole projection thing, R.A.D, you do realize that you're talking to a teriyaki master, right?
You said it. Yep.
You can say it here, man. I'm not concerned with that, and I'm not afraid of them.
Yeah, well, anyways, no, I just wanted to just briefly touch in with you guys. I was planning on doing a stream with Black Wolf until I saw that your notification came on. It's like, well, screw that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot of streams that happen on Saturdays and Sundays. It's hard to squeeze in any time, but, you know, it's like when you've got good content creators who are speaking the truth, this is what you want to listen to. So, you know, yes, I do have a voice. My voice isn't nearly as powerful as a lot of the other guys out here, but however, I try to, you know, understand the truth and tell it in the way that it's meant to be spoken. You know, at least to the best of my ability.
Yes, sir. Agreed. 100%.
SCE, very valuable in the manosphere. Appreciate you being here and commenting on all the streams. You've got a great voice. And you know what? I've always said, look, I want to be someone that can respond to the people that reach out to me. And, you know, there's power in numbers. There's power in the voice. You know, and you were saying, Hammer, we can give kids hormones at age 5, but I can't spank my kid based on discipline. I'm child abusing if I spank my child.
Do you understand what's going on there?
Yeah,
you know,
it's
you
ridiculous.
Understand what that is. It's coercive control. It uses the law. It uses statutes. It uses activism to take control of your child away from you. Plain and simple.
Well, funny
and
that
you all know why it is.
Father Saunders was saying just yesterday that he was sought after by the Child Protective Services because he gave his son a high five. And you have to understand that they consider that to be child abuse, but yet, you know, changing somebody's gender who hasn't even, you know, they're not even old enough to vote. Now, there's something inherently wrong with that. Okay. That's just my opinion, though.
It's an opinion that millions and millions and millions of people share. You know, it never ceases to amaze me how cowed people are, how unwilling they are to stand up for even the most innocent. I can't wrap my head around that. And to see it happen on the scale that it happens, it's just stunning.
Well, there's that one guy in Texas that was fighting his ex-wife to stop the hormonal treatment of his 7-year-old, and he went to court. He lost. Men ruled against him.
They have resolved to that.
Yeah,
they resolved to that. Okay. She can't make any changes with that kid.
Okay,
it's in a decree now. She needs his permission to sign off on that.
Yeah. Well, that's how long he didn't have to fight for that. That should have been something that you should have looked at and said, the kid's 7 years old. He is not literally legally able or mentally able to make it until they're 18. They're minors till they're 18. So at 18, if they want to do that, great. That's why we have minors.
I agree. So SCE, comments, questions, concerns?
Well, I just wanted to address a statement that R.A.D made a little while back, in that, he was trying to give me a compliment. And the only thing that I can say is, look, I'm just a stagehand to the real superstars, the guys who actually make all of this go. So I appreciate the content, but, hey, there's bigger, better voices out there. And I enjoy listening to the content. As a matter of fact, you get so much truth out of this that it's raw and uncensored for the most part. Whenever you do say something, they won't hesitate to smack you down. But you see, that's the whole thing. The more that they censor you, the more that it validates the truth that you tell.
Sure.
And this is why, our voices do have power. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so damn desperate to try to silence us. It's just that simple.
Agreed.
We've got, you're out. Yeah, but you're a great contributor. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, the content, right? Everyone's got something. I was subscribed to guys that have 60 subscribers, and their content is just, if not even more valuable than some of the biggest creators. There's a guy out here named Better Man Channel. I don't know if you guys have subscribed to him. He puts up solid nuggets every day, 2-3 times a day, 2-3 minute snips. How men can be better. How men can, maintain themselves and move forward. So shout out to him. Shout out to everybody in the chat that creates channels. 5 years, Dak. I'm missing a bunch of them, but Polskas and everybody out there.
You've got some heavy hitters in this chat, man. I ain't lying.
Yeah.
If you got a channel, get it out. Tell people, get your voice out. We need every voice, because guess what? Eventually they're going to cancel us, and we need a new crop of folks.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. SCE, thanks for stopping by, brother.
Thanks, sir.
I appreciate you, man. Yes, sir. You too.
He's a good dude. He's been around. He's on every possible stream. He's got solid experience and content. And this is how we move forward.
Anybody ever needs a wrench, I mean, if he's got the time, he's one of the best. And he's been here for a long time. So I'd like to welcome to the stream One Fast Dak. What's up, Dak?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's happening?
What's up, homie? How you doing?
Good. Good news the other day, Hammer. I hit 5K subs, brother.
Congratulations on the 5K, man.
Thanks, man. Couldn't have did it without you, man. Just want to thank you for that shout out you gave me. I think it was about 5 months ago, Hammer, on your stream, and ever since then it's been an uphill climb. So I really appreciate it. I'd like to thank you for that, sir, very much.
I always try to find guys that are, putting out good, solid content, but they're struggling because of the algorithm, and I do the very best that I can to signal boost them and recommend them. I don't recommend shit.
Yeah.
I recommend guys that are holding the line, and if we can get a few of you guys strung together, man, we got a nice little gauntlet there.
Yeah, we do.
Jack, you got to 5K really quick. It took me almost 2.5 years.
I don't know how to explain it, man. I don't.
I think it's great.
I kind of feel bad, like, geez, there's guys out here, been here a lot longer than me, and here I don't know.
Don't worry about it. Don't question that, man. Don't question that. The fact of the matter is that if your sub count is more important to you than your message, you're probably doing this the wrong way.
Yeah, definitely no. I'm
doing it for the wrong reason.
100%. I mean,
definitely. I'm doing it for the right reason. Like I'm not going to monetize either. I thought about it, but I thought, you know what? If I monetize, they're just going to pull it in 2 months anyway.
Well, just do what I do and what Chronic does. If folks feel that they would like to contribute, just slap a PayPal or a Cash App link, pin the comment. Now, that's what I do. That's what Chronic does. Yeah, he's a merciless shiller. He's a merciless shiller.
That's okay.
I'm not a merciless shiller. Sometimes I put the link up. Sometimes I don't put the link up. It just depends. I mean, just if I think about it, I put it up.
Yeah.
But you know, your guys will appreciate you, and they'll drop you some nuggets, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well,
Sure.
I gotta buy a Pure Blood T-shirt. And
Yeah.
I gotta get
Oh.
my link up for my hats because everyone asks for it, but I'm too lazy to do that.
Mhm.
But,
Well, you ought to get on that, man.
Yeah.
the reality is, you know, the authenticity. I see so many creators, you know, the bigger ones they won't talk to anyone unless they super chat. They spend hours and hours, and their messages are fine, but it's just, I would rather a guy takes his money and works on himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree with you 100%.
Exactly.
I agree with that. I take quite a few of these funds that come in. It's not millions or anything, obviously, but
Yeah.
I take quite a few of these dollars that come in, and I see somebody struggling at the store. I buy their food.
That's awesome.
You know, if
Yeah.
somebody's standing in line and they're struggling, they want $2.50 in gas and they're broke, I fill their tank.
That's awesome. That's
You
what
know?
I want to do, Hammer. That's exactly what I want to do, because, you know, in my neighborhood just down the block, there's some low rentals, and there's 2 single fathers that I know very well. And I mean, like, you know, $200 would change their whole month, you know, their whole,
Sure.
you know, it really would. So that's,
Sure.
I think that's something I'm going to aim for.
You know what that does for those folks?
Oh,
This fucking tightness in your chest.
yeah.
You can you can exhale.
Well, I know.
You know, it disappears off your mind in a split second. You'll be back there next month when you're struggling again. But for the time being, you have a 2 or 3 or 4 day respite where you don't have to fucking stress out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It would mean so much to them.
Yeah,
it definitely was good, especially after, you know, hearing what their women did to him. My God, I won't get into it now, but there's a story there. So, definitely. Okay, guys. Hey, listen, I want to, you know, support. I'm going to be on a live stream with Billy Von Baum tonight. So yeah, guys, if anybody wants to join, that'd be good. Support Billy. You know, he's a smaller guy, smaller content creator. Well, he's actually really cool, but of course, Susan's holding him down. So, yeah, I'll be on there tonight, 8 p.m. Mountain. So join if you can.
Appreciate you, Dak. Thanks for stopping in there.
All right. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Peace, brother. Peace.
All right. Bye-bye.
You know, this brings up a big point, which is, again, nice guys are vulnerable, dangerous. It's the good guy. It's the good quality human that makes all the difference. It's a nice guy is doing things for external validation, whether it's women validation, it's receiving validation from others. It's the goodness in someone's heart that says, you know what? I want to fill that person's tank of gas. I want to give them 3 bags of groceries. It's going to help them. But what it does for the man that's a giver that doesn't want anything in return, that's a huge boost in life.
Yeah.
Huge believer in paying it forward. Huge believer.
I absolutely agree with you. You know, come Christmas, Thanksgiving or Christmas last year, I think it was Thanksgiving. No, it was Christmas. It was Christmas time. Well, fuck it. It's one or the other. My mother was in the store shopping, and she was getting together, you know, all of the fixings for the Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. And she gets up to the line, and this woman walks up and just swipes her fucking card, pays for everything. And I couldn't believe it. That's never happened before.
Right.
So the money that we had set aside for the meal, it was like $200, you know, because we invite a few people over and just kind of make a day of it, and we send them home with fixins and all that good stuff. But and that's what it was. I went out for Christmas. It was Thanksgiving, and then I went out for Christmas. I went back to that store, and I picked out 2 people at random, and I handed them $100 to pay for their food. You know, pay it forward, right? Of course, if you're looking at some people, some folks will look at this and they'll say, "Oh, this is fake altruism," because he's telling you about it. It's giving you the opportunity to do something decent for somebody because something was done for you.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, the whole idea is a lot of folks believe that red pill guys or guys that are going their own way are just these angry, non-giving, selfish, misogynistic guys, and it's a complete opposite. It's, you know what, I will help people that truly need help. And And sometimes I've helped people, you know, even given my ear to somebody and listen to them. I take calls at night. Well, guys, I say, hey, send me an email, tell me your situation, and then I'll give you my number. And if it makes sense, let's talk for a half hour, 45 minutes. I'll talk to them, no problem.
Yeah, right on.
That's what I love doing, is helping guys understand that you're good. You're a good man. You have to understand the reality we live in. The reality we live in is not the fantasy you believe.
Yeah, man, it's hard to wrap your head around that. I'm sure everybody that's been there, everybody that's in this chat right now, even if you're brand new to it, you have an idea that it's hard to rework reality. It's difficult. It's difficult to do.
Hey, Hammer, what part of Kentucky are you in?
Louisville Metro.
The wagon wheel.
Yeah, right up there.
I spent some time in Moorhead, Mount Sterling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know where Sterling's at.
My ex-brother-in-law lives in Moorhead State area. Nice area, especially Louisville. Ashley Judd. What does she say? I'm a nasty woman, right? she's Louisville, right? She's a big UK Wildcat fan.
Fuck her.
Yeah.
Fuck her. Jennifer Lawrence is the same fucking way, you know. Yeah. So
Kentucky, great place. You got to send me well, actually, when you come to Chicago, bring up a 12-pack of L8.
L8, never heard of it.
The ginger soda. Never
heard of it.
They only sell it in Kentucky.
No shit.
ALE with the number.
Ale 8. I thought you said L8, like la, you know.
Yeah. L8, that ginger beer is.
Okay, yeah.
That shit is great. Apparently, Coca-Cola wanted to buy it, but they said no.
Well, they probably would have been devalued if they had tried to buy it. You know, Coca-Cola company just doesn't. All of these gigantic motherfuckers, they just never keep up with the properties that they acquire.
Well,
just my opinion.
Coke is woke now. Nike's woke.
Oh yeah.
This whole woke world is ridiculous.
It pains me. When I do grab a Diet Coke, know that it's just like these people promote the most heinous, self-harming philosophies. I don't know how anybody can get behind that, but it's just the weak-mindedness of people, and just is. But
yet, I don't want to make a wedding cake because I don't believe in the marriage that this couple's going to, and I get sued by the federal government.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a private business. See, I mean, you're fucked either way.
You knew then when you saw that kind of shit starting to happen, at least if your head wasn't in the sand. There was only two trains of thought on stuff like that. It was like, oh, well, why wouldn't they make a cake? You know? And then it's like, wow, I guess this is where we're headed. And that's where we're headed, folks. That's where we're headed. And you have to fight this shit tooth and nail. You have to fight it with everything that you've got because it's evil. It's evil. You know, did you hear about the two licks that are suing because they wanted a female and they ended up with a boy?
Oh, geez.
So they're suing the fertility clinic over this shit?
How is that even possible? Like,
I don't know. How is it possible to sue a sperm donor, an anonymous sperm donor, and make the guy pay fucking child support for a sperm donation? But that happens, right? How is it possible that a 14-year-old rape victim turns 18 and he gets a child support notice from the fucking court because his rapist got pregnant? Happens.
Right? We live in clown world, and I was a huge, I'm a huge Trump guy. Regardless of what you think about him, he was the last strength of humanity within the United States.
I don't think that he was horrific. I thought Trump was a trad con, but he was a bull in a china shop. He was not invited to the party. You know, like Penguin said, I wasn't invited. I just crashed.
Right.
And it's the fucking truth. He was not invited to that party. I mean, the whole fucking world, the whole establishment came out to say no, fuck that shit. And all it did was it just blew it up. And he made most people think, what have you got to lose? You ain't got nothing left to lose because all your shit's going away anyways. So he got in.
Yep. It was a dark horse. And where are we at today? We're back to the establishment, regardless of, politics. at least the guy never said sorry, never apologized.
No, you can't.
And,
you
that's
can't
what I
bend the knee
respect
to
about it.
madness. So, yeah, I'm not going to say that I thought that everything that Trump did was shit, because I didn't think that everything that he did was shit. He dropped the ball in a couple of really key areas. Section 230, in my mind, was the biggest ball drop ever.
Sure.
Should have never happened.
Sure. Yeah, there's nobody perfect, but look what we have now. Literally, we're a year away from a woman that laughs the whole time to be our president.
Yeah, I know.
A woman that heals up for the last 30 years, married to a beta cuck. We have a first gentleman. We have a first gentleman. That's the first ever in 260 years?
the first man of the White House.
What I mean, think about it. There should never have been a first gentleman.
No, nothing like this should ever happen, man. I'd like to welcome to the stream Brandon Trueblood. What's up, Brandon? Brandon, are you there? My man, I think you're having technical difficulties. All right, come on back, brother, when you get it figured out. So Jaron Marquel says, Trump operated the United States like it should have been a business. Well, that was the reason that I voted for him, was because he was a businessman. I don't care where he got his money. So he started out with 150 million. He turned it into 4 billion.
I think it was less than that, Hammer. I think it was like 40 million. He turned it into
4 billion. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the only fucking president ever to sit on the throne and lose money.
Absolutely. So, I mean, regardless of what you think or not, he was stronger than we have. And he said,
I agree. 100%. Look, he had the intelligence apparatus of the world stuffed up his ass for 5 years. He's got a squeaky clean colon. So the man's good as far as I'm concerned. If they couldn't turn up anything on him to prosecute him and put him in jail, as far as I'm concerned, he's good. He's clean. Even though the intelligence apparatus is compromised, and we all know that they are. They've weaponized it. The IRS is weaponized. I mean, come on.
Speaking of video games, you sell video games, I believe. Correct?
I do what? I do what now?
You sell video games, vintage games?
Sell them?
Yes.
No, I own them.
Okay, you collect them.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. For some reason, I thought you sold them on occasion. I had
no.
My neighbor back in Oregon 12 years ago gave me an NES console from 84 with about 16 games, Zelda, Mario, Donkey Kong, and half of them were packaged. And I had no idea, so I put it on Craigslist. I think I sold it for $500.
Oh,
and I would have held on to it. I'm telling you, I had games. He's like, I don't want them. I'm going to give them to Goodwill. I go, how much you want? He goes, have your kids play with them. I should have held on to them. It was an NES original with the box, 2 controllers, and 6 of the games were still shrink wrapped.
Yeah.
And the guy came. He's like, it's probably worth $20,000 by now.
Well, I don't think it's that far. I kind of keep up on stuff like that, but if you get them with the security tape still intact, and they've still got the cellophane on the game cartridges or whatever it is that they use, CDs, you can get a fair chunk. I mean, a Super NES or an NES with the like the Duck Hunt options, that's a cool $700 just for that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I grew up with Pong. My dad, I remember 1970.
Hey, me too.
We had Pong. It was a black and white TV. I didn't get a color television until I was a senior in high school, and I didn't even have a VCR. I graduated in 1990. We didn't get a VCR until I was 2 years in college. And the only TV shows we watched were MacGyver, A-Team, The Waltons, and what's the other one? Little House on the Prairie.
Little House. I don't know, man. I always had an aversion to Little House. I think I would actually kind of sit down and watch it today because I took for granted that we would never move too far off of that. And now it's like, wow. So, yeah.
You know the guy that invented Atari went on to create Chuck E. Cheese?
I heard that they had some cross dealings. Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese was an offshoot of Showbiz, which was a breakup of another company. I loved Showbiz Pizza Partner. Showbiz.
Sure.
Yeah.
You guys got Shaky. Don't you have Shakey's out there?
There is one, and then Gaddy's. Gaddy's is out here. Every time I see it, I think fucking pistols and guns, man. I'm like, Gaddy's? Who the fuck names their place Gaddy's? But it's probably an Italian name or something.
I think we got to do the meetup in Kentucky, Louisville, and do the Kentucky bourbon, trail that goes 100 miles.
Oh, man.
I loved about Kentucky was I was driving. I flew into Cincinnati. I had to go to Louisville, if I say it right, and then I went down to Bowling Green, and then I went to Nashville. So I made this huge, arch at business dealings. But the cool thing about Kentucky is the old Civil War rock fences that went up forever. And I'm a huge fan of history, even Philadelphia history, when the old Revolutionary War areas, Valley Forge. But Kentucky was just cool, man.
Man, right down the road here, it's probably about 40 miles down the road. It's in the town that I used to live in, called Muldraugh. It's just a little fly speck of a town, but right down around the way is the original Louisville to Nashville turnpike that was taken by horse and carriage. And it runs right through Fort Knox right now. So you can't access parts of it, but you can map track it. You can trace it on the map. It's just incredibly interesting stuff. So to know that was the Civil War trail. And then Fort Duffield is less than a mile away from that. You park and then you walk a mile up to the original Fort Duffield.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So did you grow up in Kentucky?
No, I grew up in Lake Worth and West Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah, because you don't have a Kentucky accent.
No, I don't. They'll tell you, we know our own around here, boy. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you know? I said, well, I'm glad that you know that, sir. Thank you.
The other thing about Kentucky, besides fried bologna sandwiches, a lot of people smoke there. I noticed even, sitting outside of gas stations and a lot of smoker, a lot of tobacco.
Yep, it's the chief export. There's tobacco farms everywhere around here, which I don't particularly care for. But one of the benefits of that is the tobacco moths that fly around here. The polyphemus moths and the half moon moths, the crescent moths, fucking huge.
Interesting.
They're huge. So yeah, they're fun to catch and just hang on to for a day or so.
I think Kentucky and Tennessee, and I spent time in Memphis and Knoxville, Chattanooga. But there's something about the South that's special. And I grew up on the West Coast in Oregon, Portland area, where Nike's from. Lumberjacks and whack jobs is basically what I grew up with. Now it's all woke, right? So different.
When I went through there, when I was taking, I took 80 across the country, and then I jumped on 84 right there at Utah, and just up above Salt Lake City there. And once I got on 84, and I got out of Utah, and you get into this place called the Columbia River Gorge.
Yep.
And that runs all the way to Olympia. Yep. And it was stunningly beautiful. Stunningly beautiful. Great. Yeah. Just incredible. You would run the one side of the Columbia River Gorge, and there's whole towns on one side of the road and nothing else. Just and it spirals up and down and in this whole fucking town. It's the most bizarre thing you ever seen. It's like an Ewok tree village with people in it. It was really neat. I loved it. Thought it was great.
I'm an Oregonian living in north of Salt Lake, and I still love going back. My parents still live there. Nike was just growing when I was growing up, and
I bought a pair of their shoes when they first came out. I fucking stepped right through the side of them the first week I had them.
I don't wear Nikes, and I'm not a fan of Nike. I like other brands, but it's just the Gorge. You went through beautiful area, Hood River, the Dalles. Now it's windmills and just a bunch of hippie communes now.
Yeah. Well, if most people don't really realize exactly how remote those areas are.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that connection point right there at the top of Utah where you jump from 80 to 84, there's fucking nothing. There's just nothing.
Yeah, you come from Boise, 84
Yeah.
runs through Boise, and Boise's got some, Idaho's got some good stuff, but then you spend literally 4 hours driving from Baker, Ontario, Pendleton,
Yep.
and then you get into the gorge area, which is beautiful. But now, Facebook owns a huge part of it because they get cheap hydropower out of it. So
yeah, how fucking sad. Well, I just saw Broderick Black waiting backstage, and he disappeared. So sorry that you disappeared, Broderick. If you guys want to come back in, come on back in, man. We'll try to get you in here. But thank you one way or the other. 1 hour and 30 minutes in, 421 sets of eyeballs, and we appreciate you as always. If you don't know who my guest is and you just turned in, this is R.A.D, Rebel Against Defeat, and we are joined by Brandon Trueblood. What's up, Brandon?
there he is.
Uh-oh. What's up, sir?
Hey, hopefully I won't drop out again. Sorry about that the last time.
That's all right, man. What's going on?
Oh, Hammer, I'm so happy that you I got to turn off this. Yeah, that you used my thing on Roma Army today. I don't know how many other people sent that to you, but I knew you had a special place in your heart for that whore.
I can't stand that bitch. I don't like women. I don't like chameleons that come up, female chameleons that come up. Male chameleons are a particular breed, but female chameleons that come up and they start trumpeting all that man this rah shit. I know what they are. I've seen them before. I can smell them motherfuckers coming a mile away. So yeah, that was particularly nice to see, and thank you for sending it.
Yeah, tell me if the wind gets too much. I'm here in Kansas homesteading, and sometimes I had to climb to the top of the hill to get a good signal today.
You're pretty good, man. The picture is a little bit on the pixelated side, but other than that, your sound is fine.
Yeah, you sound.
Oh, cool. Well, it's an honor to speak with you, and I'm one of the people you saved my life, even though I didn't tell you about that.
I didn't know Brandon.
I'm more of a stoic person, so it's I don't like to complain a lot.
Well,
that's one of the reasons I haven't put my little. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I haven't put out my little story, but I put out some stuff on stoicism.
You have some time if you want to say what pushed you out there to that very dark place. Be my guest if you feel comfortable with it. If you don't want to, that's okay.
Well, if the mood strikes me and the water's not too high, I'll do that sometime.
All right, brother. All right. So, questions, comments, and concerns, man?
Nothing. Keep up the good work, man. You are an inspiration. I love your, humor mixed in along with everything else. It makes my day to see it when you post a video.
Well, I appreciate you, Brandon. Same with R.A.D. Same with all of the other hitters that are in this chat, man. They're all doing their job and doing their part, and they do it for the love of man. No other reason.
And sometimes with R.A.D, he's kind of prim and proper. I try to get him to say sort of, interesting things because he loves to read all the posts, and every once in a while I can catch him up, but not very often. So. No disrespect, R.A.D. It's kind of a game, and I like playing it with you.
I love it. I get it.
He's got a big old smile, man. He ain't
Peace out, brothers. Love you both.
Out,
no homo.
Coming in, bro. Thank you.
He's a good dude. Brandon Trueblood's a good dude.
Yeah, he is, man. He's always there, and I see him all over the place, and he's active and he's engaged, and that's one thing that I got to tell you guys. You look, if the content creation is not up your alley, there are things that you can do. You can thumb up, you can thumb down, you can subscribe, you can like, you can share, you can do all of those things, and they matter just as much. It matters. Trust me, it matters.
There's guys that have channels on here. I mean, shout out to CJ Wilkins. I have a lot of, as probably you do, there's a lot of black dudes that are just amazing black conservative guys that just they get it. And
they're still getting kicked in the fucking balls because of their conservatism.
Yeah, and these guys are smart as hell. I mean, tons of these guys, and it has. I've always said it's not about our color. It's not about where we live. We're men. We have penises. We relate.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that largely. I would say that it does, in my opinion only, it has something to do with your color, with your ethnicity, with your background, and with, we realize that there are folks out there trying to break us of that. There are people out there that are gleeful when whites step up and say that they decree other whites. When blacks step up and they decree other blacks, that it gives them glee. They're happy to see that hatred, that interrace hatred. I've always said, and I will always say, enjoy your culture, enjoy what you are as a person. Don't let anybody step on your dick. Don't let anybody tell you that being a homemaker and a wife and a mother is evil or somehow endorses patriarchy. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's just a way for bitter, nasty, filthy human beings to try to drive wedges and divides between people that would really get along with one another if they were left alone.
Sure. Yeah, so, there's a lot of comment. Jerome Markel, he wrenches my channel. I think he wrenches your channel.
Yes, I've seen him.
And black dude out of Brooklyn, solid conservative. I've always said conservatives build and create, liberals take.
Sure.
Simple as that. If you're a liberal, you are victim-minded. You deflect and blame others, and you don't take accountability. If you're a conservative, you take accountability. I fucked up. I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to build and create and be better than I was yesterday. Simple as that.
Agreed. Tons of lover here says, Ad Hammerhand, any thoughts on Officer Brandon Tatum? Do you know who Brandon Tatum is, Rad?
Heard of him, but not much.
I listened to some of the stuff that he drops as far as the ex-officer and the blue shit. I can't say that I'm totally with that. I think that there's, in my opinion, once again, I think that there's too much policing. Now, do you need some policing in certain areas? Yes, you do, because these folks are ultra fucking violent. Blacks, whites, women, men, wherever the concentration of these fucking deviants are is where you need the police presence.
Absolutely.
And you need a changing of culture everywhere. People need to not be so strapped, hungry, tired. They just don't need that shit. We don't live in a great system. We live in a passable system, not a great one. So I don't buy into the whole the deal about the officers support the blue and all of that shit. I don't support policing in any way, shape, or form. Police they're an apparatus of law, and law is a cage around the Constitution.
Sure.
So.
Well, I had 4 of them show up at midnight 6 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They'll kill you. Yep.
And I remember I ran into the sergeant. He actually moved into the apartment next to me about 2 years after. Our divorce lasted 29 months. And I said, "You remember me? You showed up with there's 4 patrol cars. You showed up. You came in. You were the sergeant, the head guy on charge, taking my statement, her statement. She'd come home through a fit. It was all planned, staged." And he says, "Yeah, we knew exactly what was going on. The moment you said that you were going through divorce hearing next week or the week next, in 5 days, we knew exactly. You had no history. There was no
predictable.
We knew exactly what she was doing." So there are decent popo out there, but for the majority, the guy that the same accountant that signs the judge's check that strips the man of his custodial rights is the same guy that writes the check for the popo, right? Let's be real. Yeah. It's the same county.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of ignorance involved, with these folks that think that they're going to get in there and they're going to change that system from the inside. All that's just a human resources campaign. It's a marketing directive. It's the fantastical shit that you'll see on a TV commercial. These types of systems don't change until you've got 10 million people in the street. And they just refuse to leave. They won't leave, and they'll beat back any attempt to remove them. That's what it's going to take. It's what it's going to take to affect real change.
I've always said the next stage is conflict and not the verbal type.
Yeah, I agree. I think
if we even get to that point, we have so many weak men that will continue to, sound the alarm for the single mothers, the beta males, the disenfranchised, and look what happened in Rome. I always bring this up in a lot of streams that I have. You take Rome, one of the strongest nations ever in the history of mankind. What happened when debauchery, liberalism infiltrated?
Goodbye, Rome. Goodbye, Rome. The Byzantines held on for a little while, and they were gone soon too.
There's a man that knows his history, the Byzantines, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we're at.
I'm not nearly as adept as I should be. That'll be something that I'll be talking about here in a not too distant future, is history and historical lessons as far as civilizational collapse is concerned. And don't think that you're not in it right now. You're in it right now. You're watching it happen.
There's 3 people that know even who the Byzantines were: me, you, and somebody in the chat.
Is that right?
That's totally But I mean, the reality is this: a weak nation. We are a weak nation. We are a weak world. I mean, there's only 3 countries I believe that are strong now. One starts with an R, one starts with a C, and one starts with an NK.
You can say it. I think that this country has a monstrous strength, but I think the governance of the strength is corrupt.
Governance, correct.
It is very compromised, and for the highest echelons of your government and military to be floating critical race theory in any form or fashion shows you where we're at right now. We're in deep shit. And
critical race theory, transgenderism. My son was at Utah State University. He called me 6 months ago, and he said, "Dad, I'm filling out this form, and it says there's 16 genders." And I said, "Well, what's your gender?" He says, "I'm a male." And he goes, "Dad, there's only 2 genders." And I said, "What's the other gender?" "Female." I go, "Good boy."
There you go.
You see the red pill right there is this 18-year-old boy realizing that there's only 2 genders. There's an XX chromosome and an XY.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I started working on my son pretty early when it came to stuff like this. It wasn't overpowering shit, but wherever I felt the example could be applied, I made him aware of the example. And he's very familiar with it. He's very familiar with this type of usurping of the mind. So he's a smart kid.
Well, look, if you said nothing to your son, Hammer, he would still pick up on the energy of masculinity. He would still pick up on the fact of, hey, I'm not bamboozled by society. I take my boys shooting. We get sandwiches. We shoot the Colt 45s. We shoot the 32, 30-06, the 22s.
Yep.
My kids are great shots, and we do masculine things. We go fishing. We eat steak, and I don't have to say anything because they understand that their dad. Just the vibration I give off is a masculine vibration, which is, hey, here you can say whatever you want in my house. You can say the word FAG, fag. You can say whatever. When I grew up, we played Smear the Queer.
Yeah, so did we.
Right? We called each other, "Shut up, you fag." And now that's considered toxic. I still tell my boys, my boys had said to each other 5 years ago, "Quit being a fag." And their mother got very upset. "We don't say that. That's hate speech." And I said, "In my house, you can say that."
Of course. I mean, and that's where you end up with that duonomy, that dichotomy between in the same mind with the same kid, is they're getting you, then they're getting her, and it's very, very, very different between the two of you, and they're going to choose between the two of you at some point. They will model their personalities after one of you.
Yeah. Have you had comments in your sections that say the dad was not allowed to see the boy growing up for the 18 years, and then the moment they turned 18, they went after the dad, and they're like, "My dad and I are perfect. He did everything he could to be in my life. My mother was the crazy one." And men boys will always adhere to the man unless you're copper cap, right? But they will always come back. So the men in the channel or the chat that are having issues with alienation, those boys will come back. They'll see that they lack masculinity, or the majority will, if they're not too tarnished.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I've heard the story many, many, many times. And, you know, as my heart goes out to anybody that has been deprived of the honor of being a father. Now, honor doesn't mean easy. It doesn't mean easy. It's not easy to be a father. You have to choose if you're going to be a father, if you're going to be a friend, if you're going to be compliant, or if they are going to live by a certain set of rules and edicts while they are there with you. You don't have to be an overseer, but there are things that you just can't be moved off of, and you will not allow that compromise ever. Because once you allow the compromise, once you allow it to take place, you have what you have. For instance, when gays said all they want to do is be accepted, just want to get married like everybody else. We don't mean no harm. 35 years later, here we are. 35 years later, openly coming after your kids, openly indoctrinating your kids, openly telling you that you have no real rights as a parent. That's not your kid. That's the community's kid.
Yep. I learned in divorce that the kids that I thought were mine, in the end, were owned by the state, because the state told me when I could see them, how I could see them, the way I could see them. That's, these guys have to understand, you have a kid in today's world in matrimony. In fact, the kids aren't even yours in matrimony. They belong to the state, and the state can come in and remove you immediately.
Yeah, I know. That's why I try to make people aware that a marriage today is a 3-party contract. You go from being you, single, autonomous, stoic, to being number 3 on that totem.
You're in a threesome.
Yeah, you are. You are. The state's fucking both of you at some point in time, and they're always going to run to the state.
And guys continue to ask me, I want to have kids. I said, you know what? Don't have them in the United States or Canada.
I think no matter where you go to have kids, man, you take a substantial risk if a meat bag is part of that deal.
Sure.
You know, it's a substantial risk. They know immediately once they're pregnant, and if they're not fucking around on you and they know for a fact that it's yours, they have at least that source that they can try to pursue and crush you. They know it. It's not like they find out about it 10 years down the road by accident. They know it going in. All of them do.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's so many people that are warning guys, don't do it. You're not going to win. You're not going to come out ahead. The moment you even discipline a child, you're now considered, Child Protective Services could be called immediately.
Yeah.
You're now considered toxic. The man is literally, I remember there was a guy that was living in my apartments when I first moved out of the marital house. I was forced out. The judge, which is fine, because one of us would have killed each other. You know, it would probably not have ended well. And this guy is there. He was married, had 3 kids, but he came out of the closet. And I said, so tell me what, talking to him, and he's like, very effeminate man. And he's like, my wife was very strong, very German type, strong build, she was the man in the relationship, but they went to court, and the judge said because he was the toxic man, she got the kids. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy was probably more woman than most women today. And the fact that he was a man, he had an X, I don't know, what's the chromosome, XX for men? Or was it XY? The fact that he had a penis, he was the toxic one. It just blew me away.
It doesn't surprise me at all. That goes back to feminist lawyers institutionalizing things like the Duluth model, the Duluth power wheel.
Oh, absolutely.
And making it mandatory, because you do end up with a certain unfortunate amount of people getting their ass kicked or getting killed, and that was men and women, but they chose to focus on men and make the men responsible for all of it. So when a cop shows up at your door on a domestic, somebody's got to go.
Yep.
You know, and 100% of the time, nearly 100% of the time, it's a guy. Unless she's wielding a butcher knife and that dude's leaking gallons, you know, he's going to be going. Yeah. And that's how you started. That's the precursor to getting a fucking divorce court attorney, a lawyer, and having your life torn to pieces.
Yeah, watch Divorce Court, watch Marriage Story. Guys, this is real stuff. There is actual playbooks. My ex's attorney was a woman and tried to use everything in the book. It didn't work, even though our commissioner was a woman. Yeah, which a commissioner is basically an assistant judge. It only goes to the judge during trial or for the stamp of approval, right, at the end. But a commissioner, you typically hears it. She was a woman. She ruled against my ex. But my case is very rare. Number one, I had great counsel. Number two, Utah is a red state, and they're moving away from just the fact that you have a vagina, that you can get all the rights necessary. So Utah just passed in January a new law that said the standard default custody is now 50-50, unless
I saw that.
Unless the judge is, bribed a different way.
Yeah, the same thing happened here. There's 13 or 14 states in the last few years that have gone to the standard of 50-50, and that you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that would be dangerous, for the children. And it doesn't come down to money. It should never come down to a matter of finances, ever.
It's just the Duluth model, as you know and I know, is the biggest scam out there. It's all about feminist idealism. It's about the feminist, plight, and it's ridiculous. It's destroyed men. It's destroyed the United States, the West, and in fact, most of the world is now destroyed based on the trickling down of the Duluth model. But it is what it is. So guys out there, if you're listening, do not cohabitate, do not marry, do not have kids. It's as simple as that.
Agreed. 100%.
And we're not saying it because we hate it. We've been through it. Hammer's been through it. I've been through it. Nobody understands what alienation is. No one understands what it's like for a court to say, hey, I decide when you get to see your kids. I decide when, what time, on which. I can't even see my kids on their birthday. Unless it's, now the kids are older. They'd come over whenever they want. But, the younger kids out there with mom and dad that are broken up, they have rules. Like, you can't see your kid on Christmas except for 2 hours. You can't see them. We don't have to talk about this ad nauseum, but the reality is the state runs your kids. They are the guardians of your kids.
It's okay, man. I mean, I'll gladly say. Somebody asked up here, what part of Utah did you live in?
I'm up north, Davis County.
Yeah, you ain't got to say exactly. Obviously, I don't want nobody coming to your door. So, but look, man, I remember when it was going down for me that way, and it didn't immediately hit me that I was going to lose so much with my kids, and in retrospect, looking back over the years, when I got to a certain point, that is, I could see where the sabotage with my daughter started. She stopped talking to me right around just before her 14th birthday.
That's about
I could see, she was being programmed from the age of 8.
I would say mine was about 11. Mine was about 11.
Yeah, so it starts early, and it's very methodical. And then that's how I lost my daughter. This is going to be the coldest shit that I've ever said. It would have been easier if she had died than to have this reality, this go down like this. To look at 14 years just go down the fucking drain. The effort, the time, the money, the energy, the love, the emotion, everything that went into that, the changing of fucking diapers, You know, the washing of little bottoms, buying clothes, getting her first headband, getting her first haircut, the first ponytail. All of that fucking shit is gone.
Yep.
It's gone. And it's like, I'm the only person that gives a fuck about any of it.
Yep.
You know, and that's what it's like for any man out there that had 14 years or 14 months. It's just, that's what it is. And there's a callous, blatant disregard for men on every level of society. And the other side of this gaslights the fuck out of stupid people and tells them that it's the other way around. You know, that we oppress them. How do I oppress you? I've never oppressed you. How am I responsible for generational fucking fear? I've never jacked nobody up. You know, but you have millions of really dumb and afraid, scared people that just want to be told what to do and how to think. And they can't function unless somebody's telling them what to do and how to think.
Yep.
You know? So I know what it's like to lose those kids and lose them very slowly over years and years and years. And it's not great.
I just, I had good wisdom from a really good friend that said, you know what, you've done all you can to mend the relationship, try to buy a relationship, take her to lunches, send her texts, you know, happy. I haven't seen her on her birthday for 7 years. And if she's going to ring me up, I'll answer her call. I will open her up with open arms, and I will allow her to come back, and I will understand, you know, the reality of what we've been through the last 7 years, which is, it's not anything I wanted. I wanted to be a father. I didn't want to be your friend. And that's the world we live in today. Women are friends with their kids. They have no idea the damage they're doing to their daughters when they act like that, but it is what it is. And we move forward. And guys out there that experience this, as Hammer and I have experienced, daughters that don't talk to us. We loved our daughters. I cut the cord. I nursed, you know, I helped feed her when mom went to work. She was a nurse, and she was amazing. She was the pride of my life. I remember flying 6 weeks after she was born. I went to Baltimore for an event, and I missed her so much. It was like killing me not to see my baby newborn. Yeah. And I come back, and you know, we have hearts, and you know, the courts don't want us to have hearts. They label us as toxic, negative monsters, and guys that have been through it, I hear your pain.
Yeah. I mean, I helped deliver my daughter. I cut my daughter's cord. I stuck my daughter in the bin to get her weighed. You know, when she first came out.
You remember, Hammer, when they poked the feet for the blood draw and your daughter cried excruciating pain? I remember when the nurse did that to my daughter. You know, they take the blood and then they measure it or whatever, analyze it. And she was screaming in pain. I was so pissed off at that nurse. She had to do it, but it was like I was so defensive of my precious newborn.
If we did that there in that room, I have no memory of that. So that might have happened somewhere else. I guess the most vivid example. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I'm going to say it. My daughter was walking out the door one day when we lived in Indianapolis, and we have these two big concrete steps that walk up. And my wife was walking out the door, and she went to grab her hand and missed her hand, and she fell down the steps and smashed her fucking face on the ground. And I just remember hearing the sound because I was sitting on the couch. Yeah. And I just shot the fuck up, and I got out there, and she turns over, and you see that fucking look on her face where she's in agonizing pain, you know. And I picked her up, and I just looked her in the face. I said, "You okay? You okay?" You know, she's got her face is just deforming, and then I watched this fucking knot just come up on her head and right in front of my eyes, and just skint the whole front of her face off. And I looked at the old lady and I said, "What the fuck did you do?" And she's like, I just missed her hand. I said, "How the fuck can you miss her hand?" You know, and I was enraged. Because she had always been like that, just flighty and not caring about something until the consequences showed up at your fucking door. You couldn't think about what would happen if you were moving too fast or if you missed her. You know, you just did it, and then you had to deal with it. And that was probably the most enraged I had ever been at that point in the relationship, you know. And I sat in the car for 6 fucking hours to just cool off. You know, I love my daughter. I have always loved my daughter. She was the pride of my life.
Sure.
It was everything to me. And it was jarring and shocking to know that somebody could just make the decision to remove me from everything that I ever wanted and then plug some other motherfucker into it and just go on with their life.
You know, the hematoma, you're talking about a hematoma where my daughter fell down and the damn thing looks like a golf ball. It's all purple. Yeah. My daughter at 18 months had to go to the children's hospital. She had an issue, which is pretty rare. And they had to do an IV in her 18-month arm. You know, the arms at 18 months are literally like a half an inch, right?
Yeah, they're spindly.
My ex-wife was a nurse, and she knows that I cannot handle my daughter in pain. So she said, you need to leave because they're going to put an IV in her. So I went down to the cafeteria until, you know, she had an IV and everything going in. She was healed within 24 hours. But that's how we protect our kids. When they're in pain, it destroys us even more. You know,
I have a horrible reaction to that. When she went for her first set of shots, I had to leave the room or I was going to harm the nurse.
Yeah, I was the same way.
I mean that. Had to leave the room.
Especially when a father sees his daughter in massive pain. There's nothing we can do. They have to go through it. And
I always thought that it was unnecessary. It's not necessary. Yeah. You know, we don't have all of this fucking crap out here now. It's just unnecessary. So, and yeah, I feel your pain on all of that, man.
Well, this has been a good stream, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 2 hours, 2 minutes, 456 of y'all decided you were going to commit suicide with us and sit here for the whole fucking thing. So, yeah, I appreciate you, everybody, one and all, especially you master wrenches. Big ups to that chat and big ups to the master wrenches that keep it all together. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Rebel Against Defeat, R.A.D, for being here today, my man. Just amazing shit. If you want to hang out while we get through the closing process, that's cool. If you don't, we'll just go ahead and close it.
I'm out, brother. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for this. This was wonderful and informative, and maybe we can do it again sometime.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon, Hammer.
Peace, brother. Peace.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. And it's just you and you and you and you and you and all of you motherfuckers here with me. So let me go up in the chat real quick, just a little bit, and read a couple of comments. Say what's up. Riggs Jr. Chat jumped. My bad. Uh-oh. Davina Duckworth. Great stream. Thank you, Davina. One Fast Dak. Thank you, R.A.D. Polska Bob. Overdrive achieved. Hammer. BF 666. All right. Don't get all mushy on me. I'm trying not to, man. I have to tell you, I wear that shit really close to my heart. There's not too many things that really bug me or affect me like that, but that's one of them. And that's why I tell you straight, especially in today's climate, no cohabitation, no marriage. Do not impregnate these women. They come to the deal understanding how they'll be exiting the deal. None of them come up to you and say, oh, lifelong commitment. And they're not thinking about where the back door's at. None of them. None of them. When we say Walt, we mean Walt. And that's just because of the way that the culture has gone. Is that your fault? Is it their fault? You know, they have a lot more to do with it than we do, but a lot of them are victims of it too. You know, Jerron Markel, bye, Hammer and R.A.D. Pure blood toxic male. Damn, Hammer. Sorry to hear that. It's okay, man. It's okay. Don't be sorry. You know, we share things like that with you all so that you can understand that it's raw. It's raw as fuck. and it hurts and it's uncomfortable. And unless you want to be right there in the same room with us, don't put yourself through that. We don't live in a day and age now where you could safely get married to somebody. There is such a thing as an unsafe marriage. 80% of them end in fucking flames. 80%. Oh, well, the divorce rate slowed down, man. So that's not true. No, it's because nobody's getting married. So proportionately, it's still the same. It's a dead institution. And if we're not real careful, this race is going to be dead before too long. All of us. Timothy So-Call, hey, Slow Sunday. Good stuff, Hammer. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it's pretty good stuff. Greeny Fly, the fat nutter. I don't advocate for hurting nurses ever. I don't advocate for hurting them. That's why I left the room. Because it was doing something to me. And I can't stand there and do that. Like I said, I always thought that the immunizations were unnecessary. They're unnecessary. We don't live in the fucking Congo. We live in a first world. And we don't need fucking 27 immunizations, DTaP 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't need all of that shit anymore. That stuff shouldn't be getting pumped into your body. It's just disgusting. Oh, by the way, all of those in the chat, if you have content creation, if you're channel operators, feel free to post your links. Big up your brothers. If you come across folks that are spitting a constant, good red pill nugget message, put them in your community tab and recommend them. I typically don't recommend folks that are under 5,000 or 6,000 subs. I want to see how consistent they are for the first year or so that they're building. I made the mistake of doing that a couple of times, and the folks, really turned out kind of shitty. They use the message, they use the philosophy so that they can use men. And I don't support that, and I'll never support that. Alien Rockin' Head, nice talk. Jordan, much love, R.A.D. Utah County here. Riggs Jr., hit him with that beard. ASMR, brought to you by Hammer Monk. Oh, yeah. Cyberscape, good stream as always. I saw you backstage there, Cyberman. So I'm sorry that we didn't have an opportunity to get to you, brother. Sorry about that. Polska Bob, that was great stuff, Hammer. Well, I wasn't the only one, man. You got to go over to R.A.D's channel and sub him up if you haven't, and then congratulate him when you can. Gentlemen, the few ladies that are in here, peace out. Have yourselves a wonderful Sunday afternoon. The rest of it, 4:00 over here. And I think I'll catch you on the next one. And hopefully we'll be doing more collabs like this in the near future. So if you have anybody in mind that you would like to see me collab with, stick it down in the comments there, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Peace out. Have a good night.